All right, it's time to fix Hockey Ultimate Team. Over the next few videos, I'm going to go over every single piece of Hockey Ultimate Team and give you my feelings and opinions on what I think would really change the game. I'm not going to give you some unrealistic idea that is definitely not going to happen as a game changer. I have a pretty good understanding of what is actually in their capacity to fix, even though I don't think any of them will probably happen. But nonetheless, I'm going to give you all of the things that I think should be changed in Hockey Ultimate Team at a realistic level. If you guys agree or disagree, let me know in the comment section down below and subscribe for the most up-to-date news, tips, and info for NHL 22. All right, let's get into it. All right, we're going to start first with a mode that at the time it was announced, I thought would never last and have really no use, and that was Hut Rush. And I'm not going to lie, after a few seasons of it being in the game, I actually don't mind it. I think it's a half-decent mode. I just think it needs to be fixed. So today's episode, we are going to talk about fixing Hut Rush and how we could actually make it a useful mode. All right, so first things first, let's go over the plus of Hut Rush, and that's the guaranteed reward path. I mean, I would love this to be in every other mode, but for whatever reason, it is only in Hut Rush. And with that being said, that is an awesome thing in the game. Now they just need to fix what is actually rewarded to you in this reward path. So I'm going to say this first and foremost, and this is going to be a common theme throughout the entire video series of fixing Hockey Ultimate Team. Guaranteed rewards needs to 100% be in the game, and I'm starting to think that it's not an EA NHL thing. I'm starting to think that it's an EA Sports thing, and they just don't want to give out guaranteed rewards because, well, we rip packs anyways, and we'll just end up ripping packs and get random stuff as opposed to getting guaranteed good rewards. So the first thing I would change is in the reward path at the end of whatever season it may be. So if it's 2 weeks long, let's say it's tied to an event. All right, so a new event comes out, new Hut Rush season comes out. At the end, if you get tier 30 or whatever tier it is, you get a guaranteed decent card. So let's talk about launch of the game. Usually the master set players are around 90 overall. Let's say you get a guaranteed 88 overall card that you can only get by completing the Hut Rush reward tree. I think this would 100% give us incentive to play the game and, again, reward us for the time that we input in the game. I think one of the most overlooked things when it comes to NHL is that when it comes to what we get rewarded, when you compare it to the time input, it doesn't even come close to matching up. All right, so that would be the first thing. The reward tree, I think, is a phenomenal thing that's in Hut Rush. It just needs to be fixed, okay? Don't give us random silver players. No one wants that. Don't give us 5,000 Hut coins after we spent 3.5 hours trying to complete it. That's useless. It's dumb. It doesn't make any sense, and it just makes EA look out of touch when it comes to rewarding players for the time that it takes to actually do this. Hut Rush was never meant to be a competitive mode, so we're going to discuss how we can still make it a gimmicky, fun, quick mode, but also reward players that doesn't make it completely overpowered. You know, what you could do is make it a choice pack. So let's say Lit versus Grit, which is one of my favorite events early on. I'm just going to use that one from NHL 21, I believe. So let's say at the end of tier 30, you get a choice of one of 3 players. It could be a defenseman, a goalie, and a forward, okay, that you could take that are all around exactly the same rating, okay, 88 overall. Maybe they have similar abilities, things like that. I mean, if it's Lit versus Grit, one could be make it snappy, one could have truculence, for example, something along those lines so that it matches. But I think a choice pack at the end of a card that is not as high as the master set player, but close to it, would add a lot of benefit to actually go in and play Hut Rush. Okay, now let's talk about the modes that are in Hut Rush, because this I don't understand at all, because it seems like it's very easy to do, and they just don't want to do it, or they just set it and forget it at the beginning of the year. So let's talk about some of the modes that you can do. So every 2 weeks or every Hut Rush season, we get some sort of 5v5 or some mascot thing, or sometimes it's 3v3. But the problem is that when you go and draft it, it's like OHLers or CHLers, and you're playing it with silver players. Like, that isn't fun. All right, I play Hockey Ultimate Team. I want a super gimmicky mode that makes it really entertaining. I don't want to have to play against, you know, master set Rob Leonard with 77 overall CHLers. That just makes no sense, and I really don't understand why that is the way it is in the game. So here is my proposition. 1, add a shootout mode. That is always in Hut Rush, no matter what, okay? And what you could have it set to is if you have objectives, okay, like there is here, an arbitrary amount, you could make it 50 wins in shootout mode. All right, that isn't difficult. That's not competitive. That's really quick and honestly super fun. All right, the drafted players could be anyone from your team, or maybe sometimes you go and use all of the new master set players that are from the event. A shootout mode is what Hut Rush should be. It should be a very quick, fun way to play the game, and I don't know why they haven't taken advantage of a shootout. However, they did decide to make it in Rivals, which is the only competitive way to play the game outside of Hut Champs, so we always have to play 3-on-3 and shootout, which no one wants to do in Rivals. So give it its own mode in Hut Rush. It's fast, and at the end, let's say you complete all the objectives, okay? All of the objectives. It could be 50 wins. It could play, another one could be score with left-handed players. It doesn't matter. There should be a long list, okay? And at the end of it, you get a guaranteed player. All right, I'll use Yuri Letnin, who was an incredible shootout player in his career. At the launch of the game, in the first shootout rush mode, an 86 or 87 overall Yuri Letnin should be available to you if you complete the shootout mode. All right, next, there should be some sort of gimmick mode to it every single season. So I've said this quite a few times on stream and in other videos, but I don't want to play with silver players. And honestly, the mascot thing is kind of funny, but I don't really want to play with mascots either. No offense to the mascots. What I would love is if we got 3-on-3 or even 5v5, but the players that you get to select are completely tiered to one gimmick. So something that I've used a lot of is you can only draft 6'2" players and above that have truculence, or all the players that you select have gold truculence. And it's not so much just winning, you get points for hitting, a lot of them, that you can use towards completing the objectives that are tied to it. So again, you've got objectives that tied to the mode that you're playing on top of the guaranteed reward path. And if you get, let's say, 2,000 hits in a game or in a season, I mean, that would be way too many, but let's say 500, all right? You unlock an 86 overall Scott Stevens during that season. That would be hilarious. If I'm going to play Hut Rush, and it's supposed to be a quick, non-competitive mode, make it non-competitive. Let us just absolutely slam each other into the boards every single time to get a reward to it, and that makes it kind of fun. So, again, that would just be another way. Another gimmicky way could be 5'10" players and below, or 6' players and below. Everyone has wheels on international ice. That would be fun for me. Again, just really out there, gimmicky ways to play the game, I think would really make it entertaining and not so grindy because, again, silver players are not it. They play like silver players. The thing that I really don't understand is that Hut Rush seemed to be marketed as a way to get EA SHL players into Hockey Ultimate Team. It mimics it quite a bit. Like, you can play 3-on-3. It's got the outdoor rinks, all that kind of stuff. What I don't understand is why can you not play Hut Rush with a buddy or multiple buddies? Like, why can't you bring your Sixes team in to bang out some Hut Rush because you just want to play together, which would be way more fun than just grinding it out mindlessly by yourself. So that needs to be one of the, whether it just be one person or two, allow us to bring people into our game, and they earn XP too, but I'm assuming that's just, that technology for EA is just completely non-existent. But it would be great if you could just go into Hut Rush with your friends. They all gain rewards as well. They all gain the objectives and points towards the rewards, but in one mode, or whatever mode other than shootout, obviously, you can play with a set number of friends. If it's a 3v3 mode, you can play 3v3 or 4v4 with a goaltender, something like that. It would just be way more fun. The other thing, as I'm recording this live and during my subathon, that someone just brought up a point, I think it would be really fun to add a mode where, and you know, it doesn't have to be every single week. Again, these could change and rotate. Something like where you score a goal and you lose a player. So if you score a goal, that player comes off the ice, you go to the face-off dot, and now it's 5v4. And the objective is to score 4 goals. So it gets down to 1v1, or it could be 1v5, like, for example. I think that would just be fun. It needs to be something different than the monotonous, competitive, sweaty grind of Rivals. If that is all we're going to have, which, and, you know, I wouldn't be surprised if it is, then make it the most gimmicky thing that you possibly can, or add it in and give it to us every couple of weeks. I just think that'd be fun. All right, and lastly, there should be a master set draft, okay? So there's no more lone players in the game, which is fine. They don't want to give us lone players anymore, even though I do think they serve a purpose, especially because there is an upgrade path now. So they gave us 86 overall cards for master set players, but now it costs quite a bit, you know, to go up each tier. What if you get halfway and you realize this card doesn't play very well? So what there should be is there should be a 3-on-3 or 5v5, depending on how many master sets are there, and you should be able to play with all of the Master Set players. That way, you get a sense of how they play, how they feel, if you really want to upgrade them. And again, it ties into the event that you're doing, and it doesn't even need to come with a reward, because like I mentioned earlier, like the shootout mode or the gimmicky mode should come with a guarantee reward. This one would come with a boost to the actual reward path that's tied to that event. I think that would be the biggest bonus, but that is the last thing. And I know it has 3 modes to it, but they're so fast, and because there's guarantee rewards, everyone will play them, no matter if they're competitive, if they just want to have fun. It won't really matter. So I think those would be the biggest adjustments that I would make to Hut Rush. Just those changes, I think, drastically increase the value of Hut Rush. I don't think Hut Rush is going anywhere, and unfortunately, I don't see it ever getting improvements. It goes along the line of what EA seems to do when they release a new mode or something to the game. They release it, they market it as this brand new flashy mode. It is whatever it is. It either usually gets hated, then they make some fixes to it over the next game, and then they forget about it, and then in about 5 years, it's removed from the game. Below draft champs or online seasons, it's just how it goes. So I want to see some improvements to Rush, because I do think there is some value there, and if all those 4 are implemented, I really think that it gives the mode a ton of value, because as it is right now, no one likes the rewards. No one likes playing with the cards that they're given, and it's just there. Like, I don't really understand why that is. So it's just arbitrary, complete 50 fastest before you go up the ice to get the objective done, when there should be some really fun things that you can do. Like I said, having a mode or having an event or a Hut Rush where you've got to get as many hits as you can makes the game hilarious. Like, if you're going up against your opponent, it's not all about scoring. You're just trying to crush each other. Like, I think that'd be funny. But guys, regardless, let me know what you think in the comments section down below if you think that would fix Hut Rush or not. I'd love to hear from you guys. I'll see you next time. Have a good one.